Boom. I know. I know. I'm late as all get out. You know, recently Facebook pushed out an update. You have to keep track of these things. The moment you get a prompt sort of notifying you that Facebook has an update, it's always a good idea to update your app. And sometimes I forget to do that. And the other day I was live, and believe it or not, I couldn't see, for the life of me, I could not see the comments for a good 3 minutes. And then at some stage, the comments started flying through and stuff. Guys, please join me. Woke up this morning and it felt like a Monday morning. And the reason it felt that way, as is obvious, we just came out of a holiday. And driving down Great East Road, I couldn't help but feel very Monday nostalgic. Please tell me in the comments if any of you feel that way or any of you felt that way when driving to work. Also, if you could tell me, hey, Bo, good morning, Bo, how are you? I'm fine, I'm okay. Bo, please tell me if I'm loud and clear so that we can get the show on the proverbial road. Hope you're feeling a bit better now. Thank you, Bo, I am. I got a little bump on my head there. Well, it was swollen yesterday, but it's better today. It could have been a lot worse, but you know it wasn't, and we thank God for that. And I'm very grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Potentially it was, but it didn't happen that way, and I'm so grateful. You know, you could lose an eye, and then that's it. Even if you take someone to the police, you still lost your eye. But that didn't happen. I'm grateful for that. Alrighty, guys, let's get into it. I must tell you before I get into my dissertation. Did you guys hear about that rooster that attacked a child? Did you hear about this? This was in the news. A rooster. This is a chicken that has a notorious history of sort of aggravated behavior. It's a very sort of aggressive chicken. Well, this chicken sort of pecked, I think, a 2-year-old child, and the police have done the right thing. The chicken has been quarantined, and it's been placed in isolation because it has this history. My only question is, why is the chicken in isolation? And what are you going to say to it? Even if you place the chicken in solitary confinement and you ask the chicken, you know, why did you do that? What do you expect it to say? I don't know. That's not even funny. That's not even a funny joke. Okay. I was just curious. You know, the answer is to just eat it. That is the answer to that problem. The moment you just lop the head clean off, and you know, what do you call it? What do you call it when you remove the feathers of a chicken in English? What do you call that? In my language, we say ukusesa. The word sesa, when I was a kid, meant Red Indians. La sesa. But ukusesa, when you pluck the feathers out of a chicken, what do you call that? In English, what is that? Tell me in the comments. Yeah, that's the only answer, is just to eat that chicken. End of story. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, let me preface my comment, my dissertation, my delivery, by saying I just read a story in the Daily Mail, and it was talking about traders, market traders that are placing stands and stalls. You know the word stall, S-T-A-L-L? That's a stall, a stand, okay? Don't confuse it with store, S-T-O-R-E. A store is a shop. A stall is a makeshift stand. Like you put a table on the street and you spread a blanket over it and then you start selling items. That's a stall, S-T-A-L-L. Well, people in Choma are placing their stalls, their stands, along the railway line. In Janji, in my language, we call that in Janji. Tell me what you call it in your language. Balebika, I'm a stand. Panjanji. They're placing their stands on top of the railway line. And the parliamentary committee over there in Choma have noted with great disdain that our people are doing this. Our Zambian people are not only are they placing themselves in harm's way, because that's what it is. They are being presumptuous. They're being overly confident that nothing would happen to them, because after all, they're God's children, and all they're trying to do is rub two coins together and feed their families. So in an effort to do that, they're placing themselves in harm's way, right smack dab in the middle of a railway line, under the guise, under the banner, under the pavilion, under the presumption, Kuti, this is how we're going to provide for our families. Now, I guarantee you, if you have a Simon Mwewa lane in Choma, who will go to the marketeers, the vendors, the traders, and they say, and he says to those traders, if you muletanti kamuno, I see my Uncle Nevis is watching. I love you, Uncle Nev. If you muletanti kamuno munjanji, you are placing yourself in harm's way. You're being presumptuous. You're being overly confident. I guarantee you that Simon Mwale in Choma, they will stone him. They will disdain him. They will reject him. They'll say, what are you talking about? Chifumieni papa chimwewa. Turefo kulisha abana. Aleranda pa panjanji. Turefo kulisha abana. Aleranda pa stima. When I was a kid, we used to call trains steamer. You know, the steamer comes from the word steamer because of the steam that would come out of the locomotive, you know, the train. Tureranda, ifo turefo ayo kulisha abana kunganda. Ubunga takudi. Aleranda pali stima. Nile so tusunga. Yo, mkwai turero mbati, ifi mwabika ama stands, mwabika utuntu embotu, munjanji, turero mba mkwai ati mwana, bala mipa ya, stima yala mishona, yala mipa, iwe mwewa iwe. Neo aishwe nshikushaba muntwani in my life. Do you know the number of days in my life for you to tell me that I'll be killed? Yeah? By putting a stand in the train. Nile so tusunga. Bonse tukafwa. All of us are going to die. So if you're that if you na chita stand munjanji, that is neither here nor there. Do you see the level of thinking of our people? That is what you have to contend with as a leader. That is the caliber of people you have to deal with. And those are the answers they give you. Now, if you are weak-minded, you will turn a blind eye and say, no, as my wakambati iyai, ati munjanji sivachokamo. But if you are sensible, you mobilize law enforcement, you mobilize local authority, you mobilize them, and you remove those people from that Njanji to safeguard their lives. That's what you do. Not in Zambia. Our sugar. In Zambia, what you know, na tulandana bona makana. But so we just have to accept that that's how it's done. That is the level of ignorance we have to deal with in this country. So, my admonition to Choma parliamentarians, committee, for those of you that are in leadership positions in Choma, remove those people from that Njanji. They are placing themselves in harm's way. Because when they are killed by a train, they'll be the first ones appealing to Boma. Tipempa Boma ala kuno na batishona na tushona uka. Na batwipa enjanji stima ya chila ya ifumine kudia ile tifia chu 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 chu. Li Afrika mupepi ya isa tushona fie once twafwa. So hapa tipempa Boma turelomba ama bags ya bunga 25 pachidiro. Turelomba makanta ali 12. Watu twale kuchiriro pantu abantu besu nabo bashona ula munjanji amo twale tantika. Oh, Zambia, my beloved country. Nga twala kwinikwisa twala. Twakwata fie chalo chimu. That is the caliber of people that we have to deal with. I mean, we laugh. It's funny now. But the truth is, I can assure you, if and when that, and it's just a matter of time, that is a disaster in waiting. It will happen. It will happen. When it happens, that's just the way it will be. You know, that's the way it will be. A few comments. After I posted my post, I just wanted to highlight a comment here by, what was his name? If I can find it here. Because, you know, people really show their ignorance when they comment on Facebook. Oh yeah, he says, this is the Swaz Mambo Hateba. He says, after I posted that Choma, the people of the traders in Choma who are setting up stands and stalls on the railway line, this is Swaz says, there is no market in Choma, sir, and the people have been trading just there. Well, this story was derived from the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is not in the habit of misinforming the public. You must understand that. You may disagree with the fact that it's a government-owned publication, but you can also disagree that they are not in the habit of misinforming the Zambian public, especially when it comes to matters of safety, health, and well-being. You'd be very foolish to think that this is a misleading story. It's not. This has been published in today's Daily Mail, and the issue is there. And you must understand that that level of ignorance has to be pushed back against, and sanity must reign. You know, it's a sad day when reason and stability is diminished. Chaos, lawlessness is amplified. You and I must rage against the dying of the light. Please say that in the comments. You and I, citizens of this nation, that love this nation, that love order, that love law-abiding citizens, that love parameter, that love circumference. You that love order, you and I must rage against the dying of the light. You know what that means? It means we must be full of righteous indignation when we see lawlessness prevail and law-abiding people diminish. We must rage against that, because that is the pathway to a lawless society. And how many people know that a lawless society is not what we want? Show of hands, tell me. How many people know that? So just type on that, type in the comments, we must rage against the dying of the light. Okay? That's what that means. All right. So guys, let's talk about this Simon Mwewa market. Now, let me give you a bit of history, because some of you that may not know this, it's very important to understand history. I was reading a comment earlier on. Someone says, no, I think Mwewa, the best is let us change the name. Let's change the name of Simon Mwewa Market, remove it, and name it something else. Well, if you really must know, not too long ago, there was a councillor that actually suggested that. I won't name him because when I called him to ask him why he had proposed that on the council floor, he denied it. He said, no, I didn't propose that. Well, this councillor, whom I will not name, apparently proposed on the council floor that Simon Mwewa Lane Market be changed to Anderson Mazoka Market. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, I loved Anderson Mazoka. I love his family. He came to my wedding. Him and his wife came to when I was getting married 25 years ago. He was, in fact, I think he was our guest of honor. Yes, Anderson Mazoka was our guest of honor at my wedding 25 years ago. And so I'm saying that to say I love the family. I know the family quite well. But here's the thing about naming streets, naming buildings. This is the logic. In any community, you must name a street, a road, a building after someone who contributed significantly to that community. That's the line of logic. Provided that person was legit, he was an upstanding member of the community, he loved his community. I'm saying that because just because you have money doesn't mean that you're a good person. If you're a drug dealer and you build schools using drugs, schools should not be named after drug dealers. Does that make sense? Or have I offended you again? Tell me in the comments. I want you to get my line of logic, okay? If you're a drug dealer and you happen to build a school, schools should not be named after drug dealers. Okay, why? Because you are not an upstanding member of the community. You're a criminal. You're a drug dealer. You are anathema to what law and the rule of law is. So we should name anything after you. But if you brought a significant contribution to your community and you were positive and you championed the rule of law, then things should be named after you. Case in point, Simon Mwewa, I'm not Simon Mwewa, that's my dad, my late father. My late father was the mayor, governor of the city. The reason we proposed to the council that this market be named after him is because some of you may not know this, and I know this makes you upset, but unfortunately not unfortunately, it's just the truth. Before Simoson was built, Simoson was built in 1986, it was opened in 1987. This part of town there was nothing here. There was basically nothing here. This was before City Market, before the businesses along Lumumba Road. I mean, there were a few on Lumumba Road, but on this side of town, where we are located now, there was practically nothing here. When Dr. Simon Mwewa built Simoson, he opened the economic activity of this area. Because of Simon Mwewa, the economic activity in this area boomed. It grew. Later on in 1997, City Market was built. City Market was built. City Market used to be like Munyaule. City Market, that land that City Market sits on, it used to be like Munyaule. It was just full of shacks. And when Frederick Chiluba said to the people who occupied the land of City Market, where City Market sits now, this was before they built the building, the marketeers who were occupying that land, the squatters in Tile, they were just squatters. They were up in arms. They were furious. They said, no manga mwa tufumia pano enchende mwana tutwala kwi. Wa Frederick Chiluba, wa Tile, twala mikuli la market. Market ikwete ya menshi, ikwete shelter, ikwete ya malight. Market nga twakula market mwakula alipila rent. Ishampia mwakula pila ba government. Shakula mukulumisha malight, upange misebo. Abantu besubali kaninati yawe. Mwewa, how do you know? I was there. I was there. When it comes to the history of this area, I'm the one you should be talking to. I know this place like the back of my hand, A up to Z. Bachirubalira pati mulefwaya nanguta mulefwaya o ichebo market twala kula abantu besu balifulirwe abama traders yumo baletifyawe no manga twafuma pano abana kunganda chala abashane ubunga naba tomato nabalunda ubunga nabalunda ero no mamubike pwati tufume pano nchende kuti balefo okukula market ati balefo kuyinika ati city market bayini na twika pano tulifye bwino ati yo balakula market twafa mwina Zambia. Zambians need a benevolent heavy hand, this country. I'm live. Zambia needs a benevolent heavy hand. Our people, the way our psyche is made, Zambians need someone to just tell them, Bwana ni ukutulea. Ulefwaya na nguta ulefwaya ni ukutulea. If you sit and listen to Zambians, they'll mislead you. Awe, ishaki itwiki, akankante mbaka tuabika pa city market, inchende ya city market. We are okay just like this. No, but we want to build your market. Awe, tatulefuayo kufumapo. Nifinofine fitwala afya kwino. When Frederick Chilwa moved those people out, he forced them. Zambia National Service, in conjunction with an Israeli company, they built this city market. Didabaku did a city market. It was beautiful. The same marketeers who were complaining when they walked in, remember 1997, when they walked into the market, buying in a market. Oh, mulina malaiti na menshi na toilet yomoiri. Tata na mapevas batubikira. Hawe mwawama muno. On top of that, because it's a government edifice, it is a government building, you only pay 3 kwacha per day. 3 kwacha per day in city market. 3 kwacha per day. So do you now see that a Zambian don't follow? A leader must lead. Lead them. Compel them. Jesus said, compel them to come in. That's what Jesus said. Jesus didn't sit on the sidelines and say, well, sit there and negotiate with them. Sit there and see if you can convince them. Sit there and see if they can see what you're saying. No. Jesus said, compel them to come in. That's what he said. So my point is that when Simon Mwewa, my late father, who was just a wonderful man, trust me, I'm very different from my father. My father was not aggressive. He never raised his voice. The tenacity that you see, totally from my mother, because my mother's that way. My father was a very soft-spoken man, and he was a very peaceful-oriented man, and he was loved by so many people. You know, I, on the other hand, I don't have that trait. I don't have that quality. You know, people detest me. They don't like me very much. But my dad, everybody loved my dad. So when we first proposed to Lusaka City Council, Kuti, building Mulekule, Simon Mwewa Lane Market was originally called Lumumba Road Market. When Wainonga Wina came here to break ground for this market, I was standing on the land. This was before they even placed one slab. It was just land. I was standing on the piece of land with the DC of Lusaka at the time, his name is Captain Mulenga. We were talking, and this was after the ceremony. The vice president, who was Inongawina at the time, she left, and all these other government people, they left, and I was just standing on this piece of land with the DC, and I him and I were making small talk, and I said to him, I said, DC, just to ask you, why did you name this market Lumumba Road Market? Because Lumumba Road is such a long stretch of road. I mean, it's such a long stretch. When you say Lumumba, what do you mean? Do you mean Lumumba Comesa, Lumumba Family 24, Lumumba Auto World, Lumumba? Which Lumumba are you talking about when you say Lumumba Road Market? Because Lumumba is such a long stretch of road. The DC, half joking, just half joking, looked at me and said, well, what do you want us to name it, after your dad? And the light went off. Well, light turned on. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? It's not a bad idea. He said, look, if you're really serious about this, if you're really serious about naming this market after your late dad, I know what your dad did. I knew your father, he said. I knew your dad. But if you're serious about this, write everybody. Write the town clerk, write the minister of local government and housing, write everybody. Write the mayor, write me. Copy me. No promises, but we'll see what we can do. I came straight to this office and I typed. And this is the other thing he said to me. He says, list the reasons you think we should name it after your dad. And I listed them, and the reasons I earlier gave you. Sent out all the letters. Vincent Mwale at the time was the minister of local government. Vincent Mwale, whom I love, I will forever be indebted to him. And, I waited. About 6 months later, I was walking into a barber shop on number 3 Chaholi Road. Vincent Mwale was walking out, I was walking in. The moment I saw him, he said to me, well, I know what you're going to ask me, okay? I know. You're going to ask me about the road, about the market. I've received your letter, no promises, I'll let you know. As he was getting into his car, I said, okay, minister, that's cool. He drove off. The very next day, I got a letter from the council saying, we've decided to rename the market, change its name from Lumumba Road to Simon Mwewa Lane Market, because we understand and we know the contributions that your late father made to this city. And it is our pleasure to name it Simon Mwewa Lane Market. Now, this was during the PF days. The PF cadres, when they heard that this market now was called the Simon Mwewa Lane Market, OMG. They all went to Vincent Mwale. Hey, ngefitwa mfatima chini ka Simon Mwewa. Chichitambale chinga machini ka Simon chakula tuchusha muno. Vincent Mwale had to explain to the cadres that it's just the name. Mwewa does not have any part of this market in terms of ownership. It's just the name. It's like Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. It's just the name. It's like Michael Chilufya Sata Tollgate. It's just the name. We sugar. Makada zifyari kana tawe. Ye neshineta tuleifuaya. Izina Simon Mwewa. Sitifuna. Vincent Mwale asked them, okay, why don't you want it named that? Kai Mwewa chitambala chitumvera na chitambala kai. Kai ngati mwa chinika chana chakula mwana kwa chini ni market yako. So chakula chakula chichusha. He said no. If he wants to be part of a market named after his father. So what? So what? Where's the problem? It took Vincent Mwale months to convince those chaps that it was just a name. They were angry, they were furious. Fast forward to today. I read a comment on Facebook that was very reminiscent of that sentiment by those PF cadres. All those many years ago, someone wrote, I think the best is just to change that name. So I asked the person who made the comment, I said, all right, just tell me two things. Why would you want it changed? And what name would you suggest? And tell me the reason you suggest that name. That counselor who refuted, who said no, he didn't propose. Sorry. When people call, I have to wait for a little bit. And just let me just give it a second. Yeah. So this person, are we good? Hey, Zach. I see you. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Somebody says, Pumula. Pumula from what? Huh? Come on. There's no rest for anybody. We just do what we need to do. So anyway, so somebody said in one of the comments, said, no, I think the best is let's just change that name. So I said to the person, all right, what would you like to change it to? The person didn't have an answer. So, and I know how Zambians think. This is going to gain traction. Some of you are going to start championing. No, Chichinjani Chichina. But understand, the reason we name buildings and roads after people is because of their contribution to that community. Keep that in mind. If you are looking at it through the lens of me, if you are identifying, hey Stacy, I see you. If you're identifying the market and you're translating that to be me, don't vent your anger and your frustration on the legacy of Mwewa. Just vent it towards me. Anytime you hear a building that's named after Chitambala Mwewa, which is highly unlikely, whenever a building is named after Chitambala Mwewa, protest against that. Because after all, what has Chitambala done? Nothing. But Simon Mwewa contributed significantly to this community. So oppose that. All right. Let me just very quickly talk about the shops at Simon Mwewa Lane Market. Now, the information I'm giving you is very accurate information. You won't hear it from anyone else because it's not in their interest to release this information. But, you know, we are members of this community, and I think it's important for you to know exactly what is going on. You see, those shops, first of all, let me explain the topography of the market. Okay? Let me explain the layout of the market. The market, and just to give you some history, when the market, the first design of the market, okay, and all this information I got from Vincent Mwale himself. I used to talk to Vincent. I still do. Vincent is still a very good friend of mine, and I love him and his family. The original design of this new Simon Mwewa market was the ground floor was initially supposed to be a car park area, because in this entire precinct, this area, the Simon Mwewa Lane, part of Kalusha Walia Road, Lumumba Road, there's very little parking. So the original design took that into account. The original design was the ground floor was supposed to be a parking area. Bana mai bazimai banakana tiawe fota tulefo parking apapa ene pansha pa mukatubika tulebika ma stand apa pansha pa fiama motoka fianshi nga motoka ya kula tulisha ifo. The government listened. Local government and housing, Lusaka City Council, when the women protested and said, we don't want this to be a car park, we want it to be a trading area. They changed the design. They said, okay, we'll make it a trading area. Now, the trading area downstairs, you must understand that right now, Simon Mwewa Lane Market is the only market that has an entire floor dedicated to thrift, dedicated to salaula. Salaula in the past was mainly found on the street. Now there's an edifice, there's a market where you can say, therefore salaula, you go to Simon Mwewa Lane. Every manner of clothing is there. Everything you want is there. It's there. The ground floor, 1.5 meters, the dedicated space for each person, about 1.5 meters, was originally 619 kwacha per space. Bazimai banakanya tawe yo 619 ya furisha. If we are just street vendors, we can't afford that. Ubu fifie bweka bantu street ngapali babantu abakwatempia panwe sonde. Ma street vendors, that's the con game. That's the con they want you to believe. They want you to believe that they're struggling financially. They don't make money. Honey, street vendors have more money than you and I. I'll tell you right now. I'm a street vendors. Ngabati beme lelo. Ngabai kata nefe 20 balanfati. We need 50,000 kwacha. Shroff man. Cash. Street vendors. Don't mess around with our women. Entrepreneurial, those people. They don't mess around when it comes to money. Budang, Chapa, Umuzulu, but they tell politicians they're struggling because they have to keep up this facade that they're struggling so that politicians feel sorry for themselves, but so that politicians feel sorry for them. But underneath, the truth is street vendors are liquid. Do you know liquid? Do you know what it means when someone says you're liquid? It means you've got money. So the street vendors refused and rejected that 619 kwacha for that floor space. They said shafula. Council listened. Local government listened. Atikuti Azmai was done down kwati 619 ya furisha. Okay, let's reduce it to 300. So now that space on the ground is a 300 kwacha. Now the shops upstairs, what happened was the shops are mainly given to loyalists. Those loyalists have no business acumen. They're not even interested in business. When they received the offer letters, they now they want to sell the right to operate in that shop to someone who can pay them 80,000 kwacha, even above. Some are even doing 85, some 90. So let me explain this clearly. The shops upstairs per month, each shop is 1,500. I heard someone on ZNBC, one of the marketeers, saying, no, you 1,500. What did I say? Did I say 1,800? 1,500 kwacha. 1 pin 5. 1,500 for the shops upstairs. Someone on ZNBC, one of the marketeers, I heard them say, no, you want 5 ya furisha, they need to reduce. A vendor will always want to get the price down to the bare minimum. Already that price, it was reduced from, it used to be 3,000 something, it was brought down to 1,500. Now, that's 1,500 kwacha per month rental for shops. I'm not talking about downstairs. I'm not talking about the ground floor. I'm talking about the shops upstairs. 1,500 kwacha per shop. The shop has got you can close it, it's got shutters, everything. When you receive an offer letter stating that you are now the legal rightful tenant of that shop upstairs, because you don't have a business acumen, you don't even have a business plan, all you have is an offer letter, you turn around and you sell the rights to operate in that shop. So you say to someone, oh boy, left a shop, pay 80,000. Oh, okay. You give me 80,000. I legally change the name on my offer letter. I go to the council and I say, oh, Uyimuntuyu, Uyiniburuwandi, this is my friend, whatever. I no longer have ownership of the shop. I want to transfer the ownership of this shop to this person. Meanwhile, now this is why I say I wish these buildings were privately run. Because if you run them private, that's like here at Simoson. We used to have a problem with subletting here at Simoson. We stamped it out because it's a nuisance. Today, if someone comes to me and says, I'm the rightful owner of S24, first floor Simoson building, but I want to give it to this one, that is nonsense. No one is going to accept that here. We say no, apply. Just apply. Apply. And when you apply and your business is acceptable, we'll consider you. Not for a tenant to come and say, I want to give this shop to this one. That's nonsense. Nonsense. So that is the thing that's going on there. And my admonition, and let me tell, before I finish that sentence, let me tell you, all those shops at Simon Mwewa Lane Market are gone. There's not a single shop that is available. A up to Z, all of them are gone. If you want that shop, you have to talk to the owner of the shop. And you have to ensure that that person is the owner. But to someone who scam you and say, no, me, I'm the owner. Watch produce na letter of offer. Kansi chabufi. Wafumina kumatero. Wakupela a material document. At it's legitimate. Na yo wafumia 80,000 kwa acha wamupela. Na wakupela offer letter. Wapiamo. Imumu ayaku council. At no, I'm the new owner. Wakumanga. Do it the right way. Trust, but verify. Say that in the comments. Please just type that. Just type that in the comments. Trust, but verify. Okay? All right, guys. That's what I wanted to share with you. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye.